Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, we will take a look at how we can run Postman collections using the Postman collection runner. But first, let's talk a bit about this collection runner and understand what it is. So, collection runner allows you to run your collections containing a set of requests in a specified sequence. So the last part there, the specified sequence, just keep that in back of your mind, as we will get to that shortly. So with the collection runner, you can log your request test results and all the scripts that we have created in the previous video. So using collection runner, you can pass data between those requests as well as change the workflow of your request. You can also run collections again a specified environment. So let's say you want to run it on the production environment or the test environment. You can do that while you will be running your collection runner. And then you can also pass data files. Now these data files can be, let's say, containing your variables that you want to import and generate that during your collection run. So collection run allows you to automate your API testing, which is the entire point of working with collections. So let's take a look at what we will be covering in this video. So we will first of all, we'll take a look at how we can run collections in Postman. Obviously, that's the key reason we are here. Then we will talk about the advantages of working with Postman collection runner. And then why environment is useful when running collections. And after that, during our test run, we will be running into some errors, and these errors are going to be on purpose that we will be generating. And then we will take a look at how we can fix them. And after that, we will take a look at how we can run multiple iterations with some added delay. And don't worry if you don't understand what all of this means right now. We will head over to Postman and take a look at how to run these collections and then go over to each of these topics one by one. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm back here in Postman. Now, if you have been following up my Postman playlist, you probably would have a collection created similar to this. And if you don't have this collection created, you can either use your own collection, or what you can do is watch my previous videos to see how to create a collection, and I will add the link for that in the description below. So let's take a look at how we can run our collections. To do that, we will have to first open up the Postman collection runner. So if you notice over here, we have this button called the runner, and it says run collections when I hover over it. So let's click on that. Now this will spin up this collection runner over here. So this is the Postman collection runner. And over here we have a couple of things. The first thing you will notice is the collections. So here you will have all the collections. At this moment I only have one collection, so it's just showing up over here. And if I click on that, I can see all the folders as well as all the requests over here. The next option we have is the environment. So which environment we want to run a collection in. At the moment by default it says no environment. Then we have iterations. Iterations is basically how many times do I want to run this collection. I can run it once, I can run it 10 times, or I can run it 100 times. And then we have this delay option, and then delay is basically the delay between this iteration. So let's say if you're running 10 iteration and if you add 1000 milliseconds, it's going to take 1 second for each iteration once it's completed for the next one to actually spin up. Now this is useful, let's say if you're trying to get into a little bit of performance testing and you want to try to replicate a real user scenario. So you would probably see that, okay, you're going to hit this endpoints, wait few seconds, and then hit the all these endpoint set again. And you can do that using Postman. The next option we have for this data. Now data, let's say if you're importing your variables through an Excel file, you can do that through the data file over here. Then we have a couple of options to, let's say, save our responses, keep the variable values, run the collection using the stored cookies, as well as save cookies after collection run. I'm going to leave this the default the way it is. What we're going to do is click on this run Trello and see what happens. Now Trello is obviously the name of my collections. And so I can click on this and then click on run Trello, which will execute all of our requests over here. Let's do that. Okay, so the moment I do this, I'm getting this error 0 passed, 0 failed. And then right away I see an error occurred while running this request. Now don't worry, this is something I did intentionally just to show you guys the different types of errors that we might run into when we are working with Postman collection runner. Now over here it says check Postman console for more info. I can click on this link or I can click on console over here. Once I do that, it says, okay, so we have this get call and then we are doing HTTP base URL and all are basically the URL over there. So here it's saying the get address info e not found base URL. So it's not able to find this base URL here. And why is that? Well, let's take a look at what's happening here. So we see a Trello collection and just on the right, it says no environment. So we are not actually passing an environment when we're running this. And if you remember from our previous videos, we created an environment which was a production environment as well as a test environment. and then we passed in the base URL in that environment. So we have an environment variable created for that, and I can actually show you here. So this is the environment, production environment. If I go here, I have options for test as well as production. And then if I go to, let's say, my variable over here, I can see my base URL. So if I don't select this, it's not able to pick up this value. Okay, let's head back to the collection runner and pass in our environment. So I'm going to click on this collection runner again. And in the environment, let me clear this and move this down. In my environment, I'm going to select production. And I can also select test, but at this moment, I want to run just the production environment. And I'm going to hit run Trello again to see if this works. Okay, this time our tests are running now. Now this time we have 7 passing and 1 failed. Ignore the failed one for now, but let's take a look at the ones that are passing. If I click on this now, you can notice in the request URL, we have some options. So we have request URL, request headers, body, response. So we can take a look at all of this at the time when it was actually ran. If I click on request URL, this time we can see the base URL. Now this is the same base URL that we have set for our production environment. So this is good. That means it's actually picking up this production environment variable. Now let's see what else we have there. So we have the URL, the entire URL that it ran along with the token information as well as the card ID that we passed in during the creation of a request. Then we can see if we're sending any body. This one is the get request, so there is no body, but I can also take a look at the response body. So here we have the response body that it's not logged, and that's an option that we can actually select while we are running this collection. But one thing to notice here is the test that was ran. So this is the test which we ran, which is verify the status is 200. So you can notice we got 200 here, and we were actually verifying through our test whether that's 200. Same thing we're doing for the other ones too. And if you notice over here, we have our test which we created, which for response body, as well as making sure the response time is less than 200 millisecond. Now this time over here, it's actually 172 millisecond. Just imagine if this would have went to more than 200 millisecond, the test would have failed. And same thing here, like this one actually went more than 200 millisecond. So this means our actual assertions are working, which is pretty good. And if you want to see how we created these assertions, you can watch my previous videos. I will add the link for that to how to create Postman test. Now let's click on this console here to see what happens here. Now in the console, a couple of things to notice. First of all, we can see all the requests that were made here. And then we can also see the console log. So these were some of the console log we added in our previous videos, which is pre-script, the test script. So this is actually running the pre-request script, the test script while we are running the collection. And that's the advantage we have. When we're running this collection runner, it's picking up exactly everything that we created in the request, and it's picking up the pre-request, it's picking up the body, it's picking up all the variables, as well as the tests that we created. So everything gets combined and gets run in this collection runner. And we have obviously a lot more stuff that we were printing it out, so we don't really have to worry about that too much. I can clear this out and just minimize this. Okay, so let's now talk about what is the advantage of actually running this collection runner. Like, why are we actually doing this? So let's take a scenario. Let's say as a developer, you made some changes to your collection, right? You added a new endpoint, and that endpoint may or may not impact your other endpoints, or it may or may not impact the existing functionalities of some of the other endpoints. Now, either you or the QA, if you have to go in and actually test this out, if you don't have this collection created or some other kind of automation mechanism created, you would most likely be going in manually hitting each request to do your regression testing to make sure everything is okay properly, that you haven't really broken any existing functionality. Now, obviously, that's going to take a lot of time, and our goal here is to actually save the time. So using Postman Collection Runner, what you can do is you can go ahead and make changes to whatever API that you created or updated, and then just come in here and run the collection. Now, this is not even integrated into the CI/CD at the moment, but even just if you have this created, you can just click on the run button and it will run everything. Right away, you would get the feedback, okay, if you break an existing functionality or not, or whether the assertions that you have created are actually working successfully or not. So that's the power you get with Collection Runner. And if you don't have this, you can imagine doing this manually once again will take a lot of time. Okay, now let's take a look at this failed test over here. So we have this failing test, and it's failing because it's saying assertion error if the expected response was to have a status code of 200, but we got 404 instead. And that is true, because if you notice here, what we got back is 404, but instead we were expecting it to be 200. Now, how is it expecting it to be 200? Well, that's the test, the same test that we were talking about, verify 200 status response. It was expecting for that, and obviously that test failed, so we are getting this assertion error from that test. So that's the advantage of actually adding the test. If you don't have a test, it would most likely just say, okay, 404, and that's it. Nothing would happen. So you won't even know that something failed there. So that's why always make sure you have a test, some kind of test created that is validating your API. Now, why is this giving 404? Well, if I go back and take a look at this delete request, so if you notice here, we have this hard-coded card ID that we have created. So this hard-coded card ID is obviously not good because we're working with the delete route. Now, what we might have done in some of our previous video is probably deleted this resource or this card, and then we're trying to now delete this again. So when we're trying to delete it again, it's saying, okay guys, you have already deleted it. This time I don't really have that resource in my database. So it's giving us the 404 error. So how can we fix this? Well, this one is easy because what we have done is in our previous videos, we created this card ID variable. Well, actually this one, this card ID variable, we can use this and then just pass it to this one over here. And obviously I'm going to have to do 2 curly brackets to make this a variable. Now, just as a quick refresher, what this card ID is when we are creating this post card, which is actually creating the card. Once this gets created in the test over here, we are setting a variable. So let me just take a look at this. So here we are setting the variable. So this is pm.collectionVariable.set card ID. So this card ID, then we can pass into our other request. So when I add this over here, you can see in my, when I hover over to this in my current, I can see that ID being generated there. So that's the advantage. So now I can just save this. And if I hit send, at this point, we got a 200 OK back. So that's pretty cool. Now let's go back to our collection runner and run this again to see if this would work. So I'm going to click on the retry button and let's run this. All right, so this time our test ran, and instead of 7 passing, which we were getting before, now we are only getting 6 passing and 2 failing. So what happened here? Well, the put test is also failing along with the delete test. Now the same error we are getting with the delete, we are also getting with the put. So somehow that card ID that we created is not being passed into this, and we can confirm that. So if I actually click on this, the request URL, it is actually passing that card ID, like, sorry, over here, it's actually passing this card ID. So 011E, it's passing that. And same thing if I open this one, it's also passing the 011E card ID. So that is actually working. It's passing this card ID, but yet our test is still failing. So what could be the reason for that? Now, what's happening here is this card ID, if I hover over to that, this time if you notice the current, which is the card ID variable, it's actually different. It's showing us this C7772. So that means it's using a different card ID. But when we actually ran the test, for some reason, it picked up the old card ID that was created. Now, this is coming back to the point. If you remember, I mentioned with collection runner, the last part that I mentioned in the beginning is the sequence matters. So there's a specified sequence to the way we are running these tests. And the sequences you can take a look at. We are running get, then we're running the put test, then the delete test, and then the post test. So the creation is happening at the end. So what's happening is we delete the card ID, then we create it again. So when we're running the collection, at that point, it doesn't even have that card ID because we have deleted it already. So this new card ID that we are trying to create, it already deleted it. So it's actually picking up the old card ID. That's why it's failing. And I can click on retry again just to run this whole thing again. Now this time it passed because this time it ended up picking up this new card ID. So that our test passed and there were no issues. Let's retry this again. Okay, so no issues. This time it ran because it's picking up the new card ID. Well, the way this is working is, and you might think everything is good, it's actually working, there's no issues. But if I quickly come in here and just delete this thing again, and now run this test. Now run this here, try to do a retry. There you go, our test is failing again. So that's why we don't want to be creating a test so that if someone ends up deleting that, it would fail again. So we want to create a test as dynamic as possible so that we can run it as many times as possible. Even if we delete it, it doesn't matter. At the time of collection running, it should be able to create a new card ID and then run that, or basically use that card ID. All right, if you guys are confused right now, don't worry. Let's fix this problem and then you will understand what I'm trying to say. So to fix this, what we're going to do is just change the sequence of our test. So over here, the first thing I'm going to do is I want to create a new card. So I want to create this card and then I can get this card. And after that, I will update the card and then I will delete the card. So this is going to be the new sequence. Now let's make sure when we are actually running this. So if over here we have get, put, delete, and post. Let's retry this and notice the actual sequence for this. All right, this time all tests pass, 8 pass, 0 failed. And the sequence here is get, the post, which is over here. And then we have our get test, put test, delete test. I can keep retrying it as many times as possible. It would always pass. Now let's do this. I'm going to come here and I'm going to delete this. So this request is deleted. We got 4 of 4. Okay, well, let's run the thing again. Let's do retry and see if this would fail. No, it didn't. This time it passed. The reason for that is because now every time the put and delete ID is only picking up this new card ID that we created. So even if I delete this here, it doesn't matter because by the time it's running again, it's creating this card and then only we are actually picking it up. So I hope you understand why sequence matter here. So that's why when you're setting up your collections, set it up in a way so that you're creating this card or your whatever new resource and then only you're fetching that. If you're relying on an existing data, most likely you would run into this kind of issues. Okay, so I hope this collection runner process is clear now. What we will do is work with the iterations over here. So the iterations here, right now we only have 1. Now if I change this to, let's say 2 and run Trello again, this time we have 16 passing. So we have this iteration 1 and then we have this iteration 2. So it's running the entire collection twice. And I can come in here and change this to, let's say 10, run Trello. It's going to run this 10 times. So why is this important? Well, maybe if you're doing performance testing and you want to run your collections multiple times, maybe you can actually do this and take a look at if your collection is actually failing. Oh, actually, this is a good one. One of our tests failed. Let's take a look at this. So remember I was telling you about this 200 millisecond that we added the test over here. This actually failed because this time it took 300 millisecond. So as we are running this collections multiple times, so we are hitting that server multiple times. And due to that, this response we're getting back is actually slow. So first time the response time it took was, let's say over here, if I scroll up. So where's that card? So we have this over here. So this one only took 62 millisecond. If I scroll down, this one took 300 millisecond. Let me just confirm if it's the same one. Get card ID. Yep, it's the same one. 62 millisecond. But this time it took 300 millisecond. So the performance decreased over here. So this is a good way to actually find out. You keep running your collections multiple times. Now I don't want to be doing this because this is a Trello collection. This is something that a production API there. So you would probably want to test this out with your dev server or like a QA server and then try out to see if your performance gets affected when you're running this multiple times. But this is a good use case for that. We added this test case to see if the performance would get affected and we can actually see this happening. And this, I didn't plan this. So I'm actually surprised that this happened. So that's pretty cool. So this delay over here is simply when I'm running the iteration, one iteration after another, how much time it's going to take to run that. So I can set this up to, let's say 2000 millisecond and change this to, let's say just 2. And if I run this, it's going to run this first iteration. It's going to wait 2000 millisecond between each request. So it's running this, wait 2 seconds and run the next one. And then it's going to keep doing it after each 2 seconds basically. So I'm going to wait for this completed and then we'll be back. Okay, so this is completed. And if I go back to this get card ID, it's back to 59 millisecond because now we're not hitting that server that hard. We're only running it off each request after 2 seconds. So this time it only took us 59 milliseconds. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's go back to collection runner here. And what I'm going to do is let's close this out. If I click on runner button over here again, we can take a look at all the runs that we did so far. Let's wait for this to be loaded. Okay, so over here, you can actually take a look at all the runs that you have done. So the ones that have passed, the ones that have failed, you can filter them. You can also import the runs. So you have option to export this and then you can import your runs too. I can also delete all of them if I want. So that's pretty much it, guys. So if you're working with Postman and if you have created some API request, I would highly recommend for you guys to create collections and at least run the collections using this way. This will save you a lot of time and you won't have to manually work with each request and keep hitting them to do your regression testing. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, guys, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Also, make sure to check out automationbro.com to get access to all my blog posts related to the videos that I put here. And what I would recommend for you guys is to subscribe to my mailing list, which is automationbro.com/mailing list, so that you get notified of all the latest updates related to my videos and blog posts. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.